Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in, like, subscribe, and all the other stuff that's in between there. Today we're taking a look at a group of weapons that are featured in an upcoming documentary, as well as the book that the documentary is based off of. So the movie is not going to be coming to my area, the documentary, so I had to do the next best thing and pick up the book. And as I was reading the book, it kind of encapsulated all the things that I'm interested in to an extent. So we have a movie that's set, or we'll go with the book, and the movie is set in Vietnam. And with it being set in Vietnam, we have MACV-SOG, we have Vietnam era weapons technology, we have Black Ops, we have Spetsnaz, we have some of the communist vibe and feel going on, as well as dinosaurs. Um, so as you can tell, it may not be an actual documentary, but what it is a book called Primitive War by Ethan Pettis, and the documentary, or the movie, is based off of the book, and it was recommended to me by a friend to read, knowing my interest in like the Vietnam era stuff, and I've had a little bit of free time lately, so they recommended me to check out the book first before the movie came out. And so the movie's actually not going to be coming to my area at all. It's a limited release. So I was like, you know what, cool, I'll read the book. So I read the book, and I went back through and I was like kind of looking at a few things. And as I was even reading the book, there are several pieces of kit and gear that I was like, man, the guy got it pretty accurate, kind of. So I wanted to go back through and like kind of look at a few of the things that I had in my collection and then share them with you, because it was a fun reason to make a video, because I've been having trouble coming up with what in the hell to do for a next video. So here we are talking about Vietnam and firearms. We're just going to leave it at that and get into get into the video. It's going to be fun, right? Yes, it's going to be fun. That's the answer. The answer is yes, it's going to be fun. All right, so anyway, M16A1 here. This is the bread and butter of the M16 war. Actually, the soldiers were, but of the M16 war, of the Vietnam War. I can do English. I'm going to have to edit that. But anyway, here is the M16A1. It is featured a lot in the book, and the way that it's described, the finishes being worn off the weapons, how long they've been issued to the group of soldiers that we're following within the book. And they do a pretty good job at the description, fire, changing magazines. They do interchange clip and magazine a few times. However, when I went back and was reading, this is one of the things I was looking for. It's the soldiers that are interchanging clip versus magazine, not necessarily the author. The author tends to stick pretty uniformly with the term magazine, but will say, hand me a clip, and it'll be a soldier talking to another soldier. Whereas then the author will say, someone handed the other person a magazine. And the reason I'm not using names and everything is because I don't want to give away too much about the book and or the movie, but it is good. So anyway, by the way, to just go over the firearm since I'm holding it here, this is one of the original M16 A1 style rifles that I ever picked up, and it's a Century Arms, by the way. So these were imported kits. The uppers were back from like a South American contract. A lot of them came from Guatemala, and some of them had been refinished, some of them had not, and they varied with different barrels and all kinds of different components. However, they were complete Colt uppers. And with complete Colt part kits, the handguards, the butt stocks, the internals, and I think with this one I got a 20-round magazine, and it was just a super cool rifle to me at the time, and like well within my budget. So it was, as I was trying to pick out another M16 A1 to kind of feature in this video, most of the other ones I have are old Colts that are SP1 era, which are just like M16s. They don't have like the forward assist or anything on them, or like, they have duckbills, not A1 flash hider. So I was like, you know what, I've got to go with the Century Arms. Number one, she's been faithful. She's been a good friend over the years. She's never failed me. As far as I know, these really were not ever a dud. It was kind of hard to get them wrong. They brought back the parts kits, and they put a barrel on it if it needed a barrel, and if not, the barrels had been torched, and there was no way to reattach a barrel, by the way, or they had Olympic Arms make all the lowers. Not all of the lowers. There was another company that made lowers for them, and I have no idea who it was. But Olympic Arms made a lot of the lowers, so it was kind of a win-win if you picked one up. And they were at the time, again, around $350, brand new. So it was just kind of something that I picked up a long time ago that's just hung out in the collection because it's really fun to shoot. Moving on. Something that does not get mentioned enough in regards to the Vietnam War and dinosaurs, at least, is the Ithaca 37 shotgun. This is not an Ithaca 37. This is a Norinco 30. This is a Norinco 30 or 73. Actually, I really don't know what the nomenclature is. It's like a YL12-1J2B is the model. Try remembering that, by the way. I'm sure someone else can, but I don't. Anyway, this gun was my father-in-law's at first. Then he passed it on to me. He's not dead, by the way. He just gave me the gun. So it isn't a clone of an Ithaca. One of the main complaints about the Ithacas from the beginning of their induction is if you racked them really hard under tension, and if you twisted the fore end in the wrong direction, it could bind up the action or break it. So all the clones of the Ithacas that I know of have dual action bars on them. Another kind of cool data point there to show that that was the reason that this one has dual action bars is basically every modern shotgun has dual action bars to prevent that from happening. So you can rack it left-handed, right-handed, or you can just rack the holy crap out of it without having to worry about that happening, like the action binding. So the Ithaca in the book is described as 2 years aware. The soldier's been pretty much has a intimate relationship with the Ithaca, and as he's going to the LZ where they're landing to look for the Green Berets, he's just kind of sitting there picking at the remaining finish that's on the firearm. And there's some other characteristics of the shotgun in the book that kind of just demonstrates further the relationship between the soldier and the weaponry, and it was just kind of fun to read. Now, I can't move much further in this without talking about pretty much a stapled issued piece of kit since before Vietnam. My cat's an asshole, by the way, if you're not wondering. So this is the KBAR. So originally in the book, KBAR is mentioned, and then after that, it's just referred to as knife, like soldier pulled out his knife. So the KBAR has been an issued piece of kit at least since World War II, but also during Vietnam, we had other knives that were issued pieces of gear, such as Camillus, things like this. This one is beat to crap. It has a soldier's name engraved on it, and it's just a really cool old knife to kind of keep around. So it's just that's gonna work with a cat, right? It's not gonna work. But what he's trying to do is, if I shut the door in here, he wants to go in and or out. He doesn't want to be in one or the other. This cat is the most non-committal cat that I've ever met in my freaking life. And if you're watching this and you like cats, you'll understand that statement. Now, he is a one-person cat, which means that he's needy to me until he's not. So he's an asshole, is what I'm saying. Yep, and my camera or my mic is picking that up. So good job, bud. We're going to keep moving on because I'm not filming this again. Again, you can't mention Vietnam and dinosaurs without mentioning the 1911. So here we are taking a look at a 1911. This was a project gun. The slide, the barrel combo was a military surplus contract, and it was used, I think, dating this was around 1963, 64-ish era. And so it was a complete slide assembly that came on an Essex type of frame or something. And back in the 70s and 80s, these were sold pretty much at flea markets or catalogs, and you could order the frame, the aluminum frames, and you could order the slides and just put together you a 1911. So this is something that the frame was seemed really nice. By that I mean it seemed functional while I was in the store. I get it home, tear it down, and realize it's a piece of crap. So it's just kind of sat around, and then I bought this. I was given this thesis model of the U.S. Army 1911, and I was like, you know what, I want to do something with that. And I took the slide off and just tried the Colt slide, and it worked. So this is now back to just being a parts gun. I will eventually get a Colt slide for it, a Colt frame for it. But the 1911 is mentioned quite a bit in the book. It's kind of like a last-ditch effort firearm, similar to the KBAR. There's several scenes that last-ditch soldiers are cornered. They've lost their primary, their secondary, and they just go straight for the KBAR. Now, one of the cool things that is mentioned in the book, did I mention dinosaurs? I mean, that's already cool enough, right? But the KAR-15. The KAR-15 is used by the leader of the squad who was leading the soldiers into the jungle to look for the Green Berets. So, by the way, the group of soldiers is called Vulture Squad, and that they're looking for Green Berets. So anyway, that's not giving away anything. This is a original Colt Upper from like late 1960s, like 1970s, somewhere around that time period. But it's on like an original, you know, non-tactical Taylor here, exclusive originally. This is one of the first lowers I ever defensed, so you can see the imperfections in it. But the KAR-15 was just a gun that I was, number one, fascinated with as a kid, just because it looked different than the M16s and things, but also because it's just like a miniature, it was just the innovation of the time. Just, it was really cool. Because we saw a change up of like the handguards from the triangles to like the small, like round ones, and it just looked like a different platform than the M16A1s and the M16s at the time. Especially, we had like some old John Wayne movies where they actually used like a Mattel M16 type clone, which was pretty cool looking back at the history of it. Now, I did mention Spetsnaz, but the video is going to run too long. I'm going to go over the weapons that the Russian soldiers and why they were there later. But for now, that's it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully my cat clawing at the door didn't make too much of a bracket, but it probably did. But thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Get out, go LARP your hearts out doing something.